Good. I was just setting up some of the videos, the poverty and nutrition. Do they have anything for like food stamps in the Bahamas or like food pantries to help people without food?
Yeah, they have stuff like
How hard is it to get access to it? Like, you have to go far?
they need to look at the churches, public places. They don't need to go there and use that to buy their groceries. They give us coupons so you can just
Okay, so it's similar to what we have. There's a few videos I saw in here that I was considering, but there's just so much on poverty and nutrition, just the way developing children grow up with it. Let's see if this one would. Because even in America and the United Kingdom, there's still an issue. Like they say, 1 out of 5 children don't get enough food. So here's a quick one. Like they're trying to start recent campaigns on this stuff. I want to see if it'll. Oh, I think I have to click.
People had been declining. This isn't true anymore. Today, achieving the Zero Hunger Goal by 2030 is becoming more challenging. More than 820 million people still do not have enough to eat. Hunger is increasing in many countries where economic growth is lagging, particularly in middle-income countries. Rising unemployment and declining wages and incomes are challenging people's access to nutritious foods and essential services such as healthcare.
Do they have?
Inequality is rising in many of the countries where hunger is on the rise, making it even more difficult for the poor to cope with economic slowdowns. Conflict and climate change are also driving hunger. Unless greater investments and more targeted efforts are made to address these drivers, we will not meet the goal of ending hunger. The Zero Hunger Goal is not simply to eradicate hunger, but to ensure that all people have access to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food, and to end all forms of malnutrition. This year's State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2019 report goes beyond hunger. For the first time, it provides estimates of the people who face uncertainties about obtaining food, the moderately food insecure. Today, over 2 billion people do not have regular access to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food, a problem that affects people not only in low and middle-income countries, but also in high-income countries. The chances of being food insecure are higher for women than men in every continent, with the largest gap in Latin America. Too many children suffer from low birth weight or stunted growth. At the same time, no region is exempt from the epidemic of overweight and obesity. Overweight and obesity have increased in all regions, particularly among school-aged children and adults. But obesity is not the opposite of hunger. They can actually be linked. There are many reasons for this. First, fresh nutritious foods are often more costly and less available than highly processed foods, high in fats and sugars. Another reason is that the stress of living with uncertain access to food and food restrictions can cause physiological changes that increase the risk of overweight and obesity. And lastly, a malnourished child has a higher risk of obesity later in life. There are other repercussions of malnutrition. The economic costs of malnutrition are staggering. Obesity alone could cost $2 trillion annually in lost economic productivity and healthcare costs worldwide. And undernutrition would reduce gross domestic product by up to 11% in Africa and Asia. Our food systems are broken, and unless bolder actions are taken soon, humanity is at grave risk of seeing a continued rise in rates of hunger, obesity, and diet-related chronic diseases. To fix our food system, we must work together. Our actions must be focused on collaboration, stretching across borders from agriculture, food, health and water to education, social protection and economic policies. Countries need to integrate food security and nutrition into broader efforts to reduce poverty and gender inequalities. Ending hunger and all forms of malnutrition by 2030 is an immense challenge, but with real political commitment, bolder actions, and the right investments, zero hunger is still achievable.
So do they have any spaces that are like, what is the main crop grown in the Bahamas? Like, what's the local food that's everybody's favorite? Can they grow rice or like beans, or, which I guess I could also look it up. Some of these things. Potatoes. So there's good soil, a warm climate, best conditions for growing produce in the world. Huh. Top vegetable grown is cabbage. Is there a lot of cabbage eaten? Okay, that's healthy. Followed by cassava. Cassava? Hot. Was that this one?
Yeah.
You make like chips out of it?
No, you could just cut it up and boil it and eat it.
Okay.
Like in soup and stuff.
Okay. Plantain's my favorite from Nicaragua. Oh, pumpkins.
Yeah, we could grow a lot of pumpkins.
And that takes a while to grow too. Sweet pepper, sweet potato. So the soil must be really good.
So that's normally what you see a lot of in.
Really? Okay. Because that's the stuff that you don't have to import like on a ship. Bananas, oranges, mangoes. 5,000 acres. That's pretty good. Huh. So yeah, the idea being that like getting proper nutrition in the US, we've watched some stuff on food deserts, but like people that don't have access, they often have like a corner store, like the stuff we have over here, and they don't sell very good food. You know, you can buy like, they might have some cheeses or meats over there, but I feel like they don't have much. Like you have to go to Walmart or Kroger's in town to get real food. Do you go to shop for yourself like Walmart or Kroger's? Do you have to take the green dot or the? Okay. So anyway, kind of connecting it back to poverty and nutrition, I wanted to get this. Gosh, I never can get out of there. There it is. So with poverty and nutrition, some of the diseases that we mentioned, creatinism, it's chronic disease characterized by a lack of, by physical deformity and dwarfism caused by a lack of iodine in drinking water. Then rickets, a permanent damage in the bones. Some of the stats in the video I find interesting because they say even if you're like food insecure as a kid, it's possible to lead then to obesity as an adult. And sometimes that might be like the way your body processes foods, or even like a trauma response as you didn't have enough food. Many of things that could come from that. Vitamin D deficiency, things of that nature. So I guess before we get into this one, I wanted to go to also, oh yes, did I give you a space for you to turn in your project on Schoology?
I don't remember saying that.
Okay, because that's what I want to do. You did well. You got an A on it, but if I don't have anywhere for you to turn it in, which would be like here, and then an hbse. Let's see. And then if in the space you can put like the PowerPoint there, and then I can give a grade. So it would be, let's see, I want to make sure I opened it up. Okay, here it is. So this would be not due until April 15th, but you've already done it, so you can upload yours right here. And the reason it's a discussion is so that everybody else can see it too, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can post that as your discussion and then attach your PowerPoint to it if that works. And then that way, I know that we have already got it on video here, because some people don't come into class, they'll have to do a video and film it themselves. So yeah, you can do that. And then, yeah, we have the next two. Oh, I guess next Friday is the 19th. So, one last video that kind of caught my eye for hunger and nutrition was kind of what they're doing about it here with, it was just like 5 to 9 minutes. Let me see. I think it is nutrition. Okay, this is it, because specifically to children, and what we're going through now is middle childhood and.
Now, shocking new figures from a range of sources have been published today, revealing the disturbing growth of while some areas of the country are enjoying the fruits of an albeit slow economic recovery, many others are being left behind, leaving their residents jobless and in poverty. New figures from the Office for National Statistics show that almost 1 in every 3 households in Glasgow have no one in work, with a similar situation in Liverpool and the valleys of central Wales. And while jobs are being created, according to one think tank, a fifth of British workers earn less than the living wage, a figure arguably necessary for a basic standard of living. And this pressure on household budgets may be having an effect on Britain's children. Almost 80% of school support staff surveyed by the union Unison said they believe pupils were arriving in class hungry. Our social affairs editor, Jackie Long, has been given exclusive access to the video diaries of 2,500 children. And as she reports, 1 in 10 of them are consuming only half the calories of their classmates.
This is not a list of snacks or treats. This is the entire day's food intake for one child, one hungry child. Total calories 783, less than half of what a child needs. It's one of over 2,500 food diaries recorded by young school children in London, and it reveals 1 in 10 are eating way below the recommended amount for their age.
So often when the government talks about children and nutrition, it's all about obesity. But this research isn't about whether children are eating the wrong thing or not getting their 5 a day. This is about the stark reality of children who simply don't have enough to eat, of anything.
In Norwich, this lunch club run by volunteers like Lisa is a lifeline for families struggling to feed their children during the long and expensive summer holidays.
It's good that we're here, but we shouldn't be here. In a country like the UK, we shouldn't be here. Mums know what the best thing to give their children. Families that come here do know what they're doing, and it's not ignorance. They do know the best for their children, and they just can't afford to do it.
Annie never thought she'd end up relying on free food to feed her 3 boys. But after separating from her partner, she had to give up work and is now on benefits. The Lunch Club helps make a tight budget stretch that little bit further.
When I first heard about this lunch club, I weren't sure about it. I was pushed by the benefits of the children eating and getting entertainment through the school holidays.
8-year-old Jade and her 10-year-old sister Shania haven't missed a day of Lunch Club. The games are great. The promise of a full meal, a winning combination.
Lunch club to me is like really fun because we get lunch, we get to play, we get to do whatever we want, and it's like really fun because we get afters as well.
At home, meal times can be a little less reliable.
Sometimes we don't have lunch. We run out of bread and stuff to go in the sandwiches. So if we don't have money, we can't like buy that stuff for lunch. And Mum always says, my money doesn't grow on trees. So we're like, we know. So it's just a handle with money. Hassle with money.
Back at home, and because Annie knows the children have had a hot meal at lunch club, she can just give them sandwiches for tea.
This summer holidays, the lunch club has saved me altogether about 36 meals, so 3 children in the days that it's been running. So 36 meals is a lot of money.
She knows all about the government's 5-a-day health messages. It's just sometimes the numbers don't add up.
Tonight, you've got 3 children, but I've used 1 apple, 1 banana, 1 satsuma. Sort of share it out, a bit of everything for them.
For Dr. Charlotte Evans, who carried out the initial research, it was the children who weren't getting enough of anything who worried her most.
So in one of the diaries, the child had missed breakfast completely. They just had a sweet drink like Ribena, but no food. And also at lunchtime, they'd had a jacket potato, but with no filling on it, no beans or cheese, although they had had a pudding. And then in the evening, they'd had quite a processed meal, chicken nuggets and chips, and a sweet drink. So quite a poor quality diet that day, which if it was just a one-off wouldn't really be of great concern. But if that was the kind of diet that they were having regularly, missing meals and not eating a wide variety of foods, then it could definitely be of concern.
Many of the children who seek refuge here at Kids Company in London know only too well what it feels like to have an empty stomach. The charity deals with vulnerable children with many problems, but hunger is increasingly one of the biggest. They now feed 3,000 children a week and rising.
So, like something off Doctor Who?
They run special Veggie Monster workshops to help them learn more about food.
I am an evil vegetable monster.
Just over 85% of our children are reliant on us for their main meal in the evening. And when school is closed and there's no access to school lunches, we see the desperation in children who are reliant on school lunches as one of their main meals.
I take it one by one, and I feel all the skin. You do that because the skin's quite bitter, isn't it?
Children go to school and they get educated about 5 a day, vegetables, this is what you should eat. And then they go back home and they see that there isn't even money to have one of those things. You know, and the point is, we have a discrepancy between what we say families should eat and the resources we provide for them to be able to do that.
Annie, like many in and out of work, is finding exactly that. With benefits and wages frozen or barely rising and costs spiralling well ahead of them, even providing the basics for her family is becoming harder all the time.
I'm worried that the prices of everything's going up and up. It's going to be more of a regular thing. My income support's not going to go up till next April when everyone else's goes up, and it's only going to go up by a couple of quid. Whereas my food shop is going up at a visible rate of £10 a month. I'm seeing the money of it increase. Despite all the cuts and changes I've made, it's got to the point where someone else has got to give. And with the winter coming up, I've then got to find the extra, like I said, electric gas and electric for the heating. What will give them? Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
And though they're still young, Jade and Shania know that sometimes what gives is lunch.
Money is important for food because if you run out of food and you don't have any money, what are you going to live on? But when you get hungry, like after an hour when you're hungry, your belly starts rumbling.
So that's not just a problem.
When President Obama spoke of the winter of our hardship in his inaugural address, no one in America understood that better than the folks we met in Wilmington, Ohio. They're people in the grip of a brutal series of layoffs at DHL, the shipping company, and their experience.
That was in 2009. So in Ohio, in America, even in India, when we visited, they give 600 million school lunches every year, or every day, I think. So 600 million school lunches. I know in America we have lunches. Our food pantry, so St. Leo in Cincinnati serves like 1,500 every month. During the summer, they do the same thing because when school's not in, they try to give food to kids and deliver it at home. So most recently, we turned St. Leo's into a choice food pantry where they can actually go in and like wheel a cart around and kind of shop and pick from the fruits and vegetables and things of that nature. There's also, oh yeah, they're asking for donations on the side. There is some refrigerated stuff. They get a lot of things that are donations. We took social work interns down here because there's such a need for just the food insecurity alone. The food and the layoffs have caused a lot of challenges. There's also some of the community garden. I want to see if so they're even having people, we're trying to get them access to seeds to grow their own food and kind of do stuff that you could grow at home. Grow a row of extra tomatoes, beans, peas, or zucchini and donate it to the pantry. The area the food pantry's in, this is what I wrote my dissertation on. It is a food desert. Where healthy, affordable food is difficult to obtain. There's no regular grocery store accessible to the residents. So you can give the gift of produce. What else is there? There's a few other corporal works of mercy. So the community garden and stuff they were growing there. It's a very Catholic community, so they named Our Lady of Presentation Garden, so they kind of redid the statue and got things up. Civic Garden Center helps them get seeds and different things to be able to grow their own food. And just, again, with the pandemic and the hunger issues, I think I've shown you guys videos on that. Did anything happen in your country where food pantries got more needs, or was there more people unemployed? Did more businesses close during the pandemic?
It was like a lot more people needed assistance with food and basic stuff.
Right. Yeah, so today, I don't know if you heard the U.S. passed a coronavirus bill and then they're getting a stimulus check. I don't know if you've heard of any people talking about that. Does the Bahamas do stuff like that too? Okay. So recently, I found something I wanted to kind of go over with folks here. Have you ever heard of this cryptocurrency before? Bitcoin? So what I found out is if you sign up here on Coinbase.com, there is a tutorial for up to $35 worth of free cryptocurrencies. and you don't have to buy them. Like there's no, I think the hardest part is signing up because they have you do your driver's license and take a selfie, like make sure it's you, like on your phone and things like that. So if you go through the motions on that, then you can basically, I'm pretty sure you can do this in the Bahamas too. So here we just I show my Ohio driver's license. I think I like take a picture. Do you have a driver's license where you're from? Or you have like a passport probably. Right. So, and I took a picture. Right. So you could do everything through the Bahamas and then your bank is probably there too. So, and it takes maybe a half an hour, but you get $35 of free Bitcoin, which I thought was cool. And it's like a little mini stimulus check. We were kind of going over that in class yesterday. You know, it's well, I guess if you just sign up, you get $5 of free Bitcoin too. So I was kind of going through that with people and the stuff with the stimulus check and what's crazy is how much it's gone up to. There was a time when it was just like a penny. And even in 2017, I think Bitcoin was $500. Now it's $50,000, which is just like crazy. So I was trying to get that info out there with like the time of stimulus. Some of the students are going to get a stimulus check. Some of them won't because their parents took it. So if you do go and log on through Coinbase and do that, that's a way to get an extra $35 if you really need it. And then finishing up with some of so we're in Piaget's concrete operational stage. Let's see if I can get this to, and then, so these are some of the things that they'll have on the licensure exam. So with cognitive development in middle childhood, Piaget says that the kids are in the concrete operational stage. When they take the conservation task, they can pass it. Remember when they were pouring water into like different cups and like showing different sizes? The kids are smart enough to be able to pass that at middle childhood. So the recognition that properties of a substance do not change when its appearance is altered in some way. This is about age 7 and age 8, as opposed to age 5 and 6. They're able to coordinate information using processes governed by rules of logic. So at age 7, they call it the age of reason. Kids are like able to tell right from wrong. Like they learn how to tell a lie and they know it's like they start to learn how to do things. Some other developmental stuff. So they have emotional intelligence, which they can delay gratification tasks. Have you seen the marshmallow experiment before? Okay, this one's kind of good. So they can tell each other's emotions and they can tell people skills. They're more confident and less likely to drop out of school if they do that. So here's the marshmallow test. And this is they show different ages. So I think I misspelled it already. So videos, and then there's a pretty funny one about the marshmallow test. You sure you've never seen it? This is a good one. It's about delayed gratification in kids. It's a test that they do on kids that are around these ages to see if they're able to delay gratification. It's funny.
Okay, sit in that chair. All right, here's the deal. Marshmallow for you. You can either wait, and I'll give you another one if you wait, or you can eat it now. When I come back, I'll give you another.
So then you'll have to. But stay in here and stay in the chair till I come back, okay? All right.
Oh, really? So what else have you seen them do it with? Okay.
I'm gonna go do something and then I'll.
So, yeah, where did you see these before? Oh, okay, on TikTok. Okay, so yeah, they're mimicking this. This is like the original of where it came from.
Come back.
So you sure you haven't seen this one? Okay. It's kind of funny.
It's up to you. You can have it now or you can wait. Okay? I'll be back. Stay in the chair, okay? Okay.
She's a little younger, so she might not get it. She's eating parts of this.
All right, so I'm gonna leave and then I'll come back, okay? So you can either eat it right now or you can wait. Either way, okay? Okay.
She's too young to know.
How'd you do? Did you do good? You did? You wanted to eat it, didn't you? Yeah. So did I tell you to give me another one? Okay, now you can have both. You mean?
So yeah, they're all kind of mimicking that, where the kids are learning this delay gratification task. So there is some research on delay of gratification that if you're able to do it as a kid, you may actually do better as an adult. Some people have done research on the other end saying that's not necessarily true. So it's kind of an interesting debate that's going on. About age 7 or age 8, and I think the little 2 girls who ate the marshmallow were like 5 or 6, so they weren't there yet to know that you delayed gratification. They can perceive others' emotions. If they're taught how to regulate their own emotions, that's important, and have people skills, like learn how to not have temper tantrums, and then they're more confident, less likely to drop out of school, better adjusted if they are regulating emotions. So this here is the social emotional learning strategies that improves academic achievement and increases pro-social behaviors such as kindness, sharing, and empathy. So teaching some of these in the school, like social and emotional and academic learning, they have to have all 5 of these. So like social awareness, relationship skills, responsible decision making, self-awareness, and self-management, which is hard. And then sometimes they'll have teaching classroom curriculum instruction or the school climate policies and practices. Most important, you want to get it from your family and community. So getting that from home. And sometimes kids don't get that from home. With Communication, some of the kids are able to use metalinguistic awareness, which is the ability to go beyond the information. Like when you're telling them stuff, they're able to tell what's going on. They may also be bilingual. Do you guys have a second language? Okay. Do you ever, in school, do they teach a second language?
Yeah, I did French.
Okay.
We have an awesome
I learned French in high school and then I learned Spanish in college.
Yeah, I did Spanish. I did French.
Are you able to speak it now?
French?
Either one. I guess they're both Romance language.
I feel like I can read it.
Right.
I know how to make sentences, but I don't know how to speak it fluently.
Right. You have to like practice. Like when I
lived there for a while.
You did live there?
No, I'm saying I feel like if I lived there for a while, then I'll be.
Yes. That's the only time I learned. So I had really bad dialogue skills, and then I had to live 7 months down in Nicaragua and El Salvador. And then you start to learn every day.
Yeah, but I feel like I can read it.
Yeah. I feel like it is easier to do passive reading and then listening, and it's hard to do active writing and then speaking. But I get what you say. And then as I don't practice it, I lose it. But they say bilingual education, children in bilingual programs typically outperform their counterparts in all English programs on tests of academic achievement, even in English. And then children learning to be bilingual outperform on IQ, which is the intelligence quotient, Piagetian conservation tasks, and language use, and metalinguistic awareness, which is the ability to go beyond the information, like take it somewhere and use it properly, and selective attention, to be able to like tune out things that kids with maybe attention deficit disorder cannot, like noises outside that distract you, or food cooking down the hall so it smells good and you don't want to sit through class or whatever it is. So there's some of those. I know we started a little early, so I wanted to get into more of these next week with attitudes, emotions, regulation, and kids, how important it is for them to recognize the emotion, be able to express about the emotion, and understanding emotions in others, which not everybody gets until certain ages. Like that is a hard thing to learn. Do you have any questions about, we're on like chapter 6 now, like anything with chapter 6 at this point? Or any of the, I guess next will be the final paper. Are you going to write the paper on what you presented on or what it says in the syllabus, which is, I can show you. Oh, shoot. Why do I always have trouble with this? Okay. Actually, yeah, the final paper is here. Oh, I put them in the syllabus. So you can either, if you want to continue doing stuff on PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder and trauma, that is okay, that is fine. Or the final paper, which I know it's not due till the end of next month, but if you do it, well, you can start now. It's going to be on this in particular. I can't remember if it's at the end, like after all the assignments, or the very beginning. So it's called the ethnographic study of one's family origin, which you can also, if there is trauma that you were witnessing growing up, you can add that in too. But it is, each student will write a case report about his or her family of origin. Students are to study and cite relevant literature related to their family's cultures and ethnicities. Write a paper reviewing your experiences and family experiences. That's not written very well. You can use your eco map and culturegram as an assessment. So these things that we wrote up, and paper should address significant issues and life events that you and your family experienced, the effect these events and issues had on you and other family members, and then issues that should be addressed could include sexuality, drugs, peer pressure, body image, and other family dynamics. The questions are like, how did these issues of diversity, that's written poorly also, how did issues of diversity show up in the paper, show how the theories can be used. So you integrate one theory. It's either like psychodynamic, we've talked about Piaget here, his theory, which was, you could also use the psychosocial, social learning theory, cognitive, or biological theory in your paper. And then here's an example. For example, you may want to discuss how social learning theory may explain your involvement with certain friends, like friends you had growing up. Papers, 6 to 8 pages typed references should be used in regard to the discussion of your theories. And then it's like APA and references and whatnot. I still have the 2019 date on there. So that's due in April, at the end of April. I think we have it in here about, I have to remember that for next time that I've got the old date in. I think I put on either April 30th, the last day of April. So you still have like 6 weeks, but, and I did open the options if you'd rather write 6 or 8 pages on post-traumatic stress disorder with citations and references and maybe even the theory that goes with that, that's an option too. It's totally up to you. You don't have to decide now, you can think about it too. So, I know we started a little, or it says we've been going 43 minutes on the video so far. So, any other questions about that type of stuff? And you can, yeah, certainly if there's someone in your family who experienced that, or even friends you knew growing up that had, you know, something that you would want to write about. Absolutely. Sometimes we understand things better when we have like family situations that we experienced about it. So well, cool. That is all I have for today because I wanted to make sure you guys, I think you're caught up on your stuff, right? Okay. Because sometimes I want to give you guys enough time to do everything. Oh yeah, somebody's coming right now, so that's funny. Cool. That is all that I have, so thank you. Yes, have a good weekend. Try to enjoy the nice weather. It's finally feeling like the Bahamas. I know, I hate that. Right, yeah. At least a little warm. We'll have a good weekend and see you next week.